we have, as most people know, we've been clearly stated that we have probably the best documentation from a historical point of view on spirituality, how the human race began, and even how religions came into being and when they came actually into being, more than anybody. But we also have a research level that I want to share with the audience now that most people will find very interested. See, we have not only research from the third dimension, we have research from the fourth and the fifth dimension. And llamas have the ability to tap the Akashic records. We have the ability to go into those dimensions. And some of the apparatuses you see now with the virtual reality headsets, well, we have some engineering llamas that have developed virtual headsets. They have a screen in the Lamasery that's 120 inches. So imagine your biggest LCD TV. Most people, it's like 60 to 80 inches, right? We have one 120. We are able to have llamas take these virtuals. A half a dozen of us llamas go into the fourth and fifth dimension and project the past as if it's the present right on the screen for the younger masters and llamas who don't have the ability to see it in God's omnipresent projected there. So they did this recently. I was there in spirit body this past week when they were doing a session. And when they unfolded,
and can you, I want to interrupt you for 1 second now. So
sure.
The records that you referred to, can you tell everybody what those records are?
Records
cache that you said that you can access.
Akashic records are dating back the total human existence on this planet, and not only this planet, other places, but it's a recording of human souls incarnating. But there's also in there the recorded history of everything that's happened in the 3D. Okay. So when we're looking at that, now this is going to be really cool. When we're looking at that and they're projecting on the screen, now this screen is a 3D screen with a 3D projection operative. So once everybody was attuned into the same vibration, it created from the screen a hologram. And it literally put the llamas in the Garden of Eden as if they had gone back 170,000 years ago. And so when we say we know things, it's as close, Jimmy, to firsthand as you can get in this thing. It was amazing. When I saw Eden, trees were so huge. The branches, there were actually different forms of life forms, some human, some not, that were literally living in trees. And they would go from one province to the other by walking on branches that were big enough to drive a Volkswagen over. That's how wide the branches were.
Oh, I can imagine.
And vegetation was off the chart how big. There were watermelons as big as humans. Squashes. It was huge.
We have not been good stewards of Mother Earth. That's no, for sure. Haven't. And I know people's heads right now are going boom, but I can tell you from firsthand experience, okay, that Master Lama Rasagi absolutely can travel through spirit to about anywhere he wants. And let me give you a little example that I had happen to me, not including one that will be going public with the people soon with. It'll blow your freaking minds, okay? But my wife was flying to Dominican Republic. Some of you might have heard this story before. I've only talked about it a couple times, I think, but I need to say it now because of what Master Lama Rasagi just said. And my wife is terrified of flying, okay? So as she's in the air flying from Austin to Miami, then to go from Miami to Dominican Republic, the turbulence are just throwing everybody all over the plane. It's getting crazy. She's panicking. There's a pilot going to the Miami to be on another plane. She's panicking and she's crying out. And who shows up? Master Lama Rasaji shows up and holds her hand, and she calms down with a calmness that she could not even believe. Now, my wife doesn't believe in anything like that. Okay. You know what I mean? I mean, for her to call me up when she landed and to tell me that story at the same time, I get a call from him and he's telling me on the other end, these two aren't talking. I'm getting it in one ear and in the other ear. Talk about confirmation. My wife's Latino. I've been with her 32 years. She's my soulmate. She's my mi amor. And she got female intuition like you don't even understand. And she is a skeptic on anything. You know what I mean? Whether it was Bodyline products until she tried them, she's a skeptic. No matter what. Guess what? She's been doing Tai Chi Gong now, past the 45-day challenge, had that experience, and then even on the way back called and it got calmed down again. So what is going on? Also at one time, Master Lama Rasaji, you were seen at 3 places at one time by multiple witnesses at each location.
And late 75, after I had been with Master Lama Boyang in Washington Square in New York City, in what they refer to as the Soul Hole District, which is just a little bit north of Little Italy in Chinatown. And a very popular area of culturally, I mean, it's off the chart. It's a true melting pot for the world, really. All nationalities are there. And we were in the Washington Square, and I'd been taking class for about 6 or 8 months. And we were doing the Tai Chi Dance, referred to as the form. And there's about 28 movements in our small little form. And about the 7th or 8th movement, you're making that first 180-degree turn. And then making that first 180-degree turn, I looked at the Llama, and it was no longer 1975, 76 in New York City. It was a time, I don't know how far back, but the master's total attire had changed from Tibetan to more Chinese orientation. And there were pagodas in the background. And I mean, pagodas that had to have been at least centuries old and were just absolutely, I saw a palace in the background. And by that time, I didn't realize that I was going through my latter part of second birth Kundalini. And as I was buckling at the knees, a couple students saw that I was going to fall to the surface, and they eased me down to the surface. And when I was going down, I was still semi-conscious. And they looked at Master Boyang and they said, "Master, what is happening to Rasaji?" And the master said, "Oh, he's awakening and he's remembering who he is and what he's supposed to do." Simultaneously, there was a retreat, a vision quest being conducted by my Cherokee Indian friend in St. Simons, Georgia that week. I showed up there, was witnessed by a dozen people of putting my arm around my friend. That was the day of the Polaroid, and that they Polaroid us. And today he still has that picture hanging in his bedroom on his chest of drawers windows to remind him the power of spirit. There was enough of me that materialized at that time to record on a photo. Simultaneously, there's 12 to 15 witnesses in the Lamasery where I showed up 2.5 years before I would show up again, Jimmy, physically to train for over 3 or 4 years. "Oh, the Lama's coming to visit us." Little Llama was the joke, right? I always called me Little Llama. And so there I was, and I'm in 3 locations simultaneously with 3 different sets of witnesses. Over the next week, they're all in communications with them, praising Abba, praising the power of spirit in me. I mean, I thought I was losing my mind. I mean, I was 18 going on 19 years old. I thought I was losing my mind. But fortunately for me, I had lived enough on the other side and had enough what's called bilocation, which is the separation of spirit body in one location. This was 3 times location, but we're all doing this, Jimmy, but most of us never catch the awareness that we're doing